Hi, these comments are for AP, and you are one of my TOEFL writing boot camp course students. Whoa! And I actually got your essay yesterday, and on the previous essay, you had some questions about the introduction, and I gave you some feedback on that. And today, let's take a look at what you did with your next essay. So it says some people prefer to solve a challenge all by themselves. Others prefer to depend on other people's help. Which do you prefer and why? Include details and examples in your explanation. All right, so let's see how you did on this one. Yeah, I'm scoring you right now at 3.75 out of 5, 24 points out of 30, but not because of your organization and your development. It was very strong. So in many cases, what you're doing, it's in the 4 range or even in the 5 range, but it's this: may demonstrate inconsistent facility in sentence formation and word choice that may result in a lack of clarity and occasionally obscure meaning. But it's not the meaning, but it's just you're having problems controlling some of your sentence structures. So that's what you want to be careful about. Okay, so your examples were incredible. I like the introduction. I like how you have you used a question to kind of engage the reader. So that's a pretty good strategy. You have your thesis here, but then again, this is where you run into these sentence structure issues. So because blah, 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 and then which, there's no independent clause here. But if you simply just combine these two, you combine the dependent clause of the previous sentence, you solve that problem. So your topic sentences are very structured. You have relevant supporting details, and look at this paragraph here. Every paragraph is very developed. This is over 200 words. So let's take a look at this particular paragraph. I'm going to give you some feedback on your sentence structure so you can eliminate, I'm hoping, you can eliminate this problem. So one advantage of answering a problem by I'm going to say by myself is it aids in understanding the problem in various dimensions. And then you have to combine these two because thus gaining, there's no subject and verb in there. So once you put the comma, you can say thus, I would get rid of this comma, and then just say thus gaining hands-on, and you can hyphen, you have to look at this as one word kind of, thus gaining hands-on experience and acquiring a long-lasting skill which sheds light on solving complex tasks. Right? So once you combine this to the previous sentence, you no longer have a sentence fragment. To challenge a task, we must break the compound task into manageable chunks. So by looking at individual pieces, and I'm going to put a comma here and a comma here. This is debatable. If you disagree with me at YouTube, you can make a comment. But you're separating, one can rule out possible solutions. Recently, I solved the mechanical 3D puzzle Locomotive R17. And because you already used the which previously, let's reduce this to a positive. A complicated task of making a train and truck with wooden parts of different sizes. For solving this task, and you need a comma here, not a colon. So you'll say first, I segregated parts and assigned numbers to them. Second, now this is where you start getting into trouble big time. I'm going to put second, I made individual units of building blocks such as platforms for the train to move. And then let's get this to maybe fixed wheels and balance them to the body, and maybe get rid of this. You were parallel in your grammar. I'm going to give you credit on that, but you just did not have a sentence in there. So this kind of corrects that. I made individual units of building blocks such as platforms for the train to move, fixed wheels, balanced them to the body, and arranged maybe the blocks in an orderly manner. Finally, I completed wheels, coaches, body, and platform in a wise manner. As a result, I arranged them as per the sequence and fulfilled the task. Thus, looking at different views you want to say the joints, and I like your specific language in here, looking at different views of the joints or attachments. And this is not a sentence fragment. Notice how you put the participial phrase here, and then you have your subject. I was able to join the individual units to make a bigger unit. So this shows very good syntactic variety. So that's a great sentence. If I had not seen the patterns, I would not have built I'm going to put the train. Built, I think, is a transitive verb, so you need an object there. I would not have built the train. And I'm going to get rid of all of these words because this is a big paragraph anyway, right? And just say efficiently. If I had not seen the patterns, I would not have built the train efficiently. And now with that experience, I was able to solve other models. And again, you don't have to say all that. Similarly. So what concerns me here is these, what we call sentence fragments. So in many cases, I had to make a few changes in your sentence structure to make it work. And that's why I didn't give you any higher score than 3.75. For the most part, you're controlling a lot of your sentences in your writing, but you still have, in every paragraph, there's one or two sentences maybe which are not being controlled very well, which means you have some fragments in there. So go to Google. What is a sentence fragment? How do you repair a sentence fragment in academic writing? That's a good. And I repaired them. That's why I wanted to show you here. I noticed that was a particular problem that you had, so I wanted to give you some feedback on how to repair that. So because of these sentence structure issues, I did not want to give you a higher score than 3.75 out of 5, 24 points out of 30. But to be honest with you, your development, organization, your vocabulary is spectacular. But still, you have to control those sentences if you want to keep that high score. So I think if your grammar had been really, really accurate, I would have given you 29 or 30 points on this thing. Okay, so you had another question I want to answer right now. It's right here. You say, thank you so much for your explanation about the introduction. Here is my next essay. Okay, I already did that. Small request. What are the best words I can use here to make it more effective? Any suggestions? Thanks in advance. I have suggestions. I really do. So let's go over to my online TOEFL course. I know you have access to this. Okay, the key, let's go to the vocabulary section. Notice how it's step 1. So I'm going to give you short-term vocabulary suggestions and then long-term vocabulary suggestions. So for the short term, here they are. These are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. These are 60 what we call high-frequency college level academic words. They come from an academic word list, and I think this is a great start. Master the words and begin using these words in your writing. I think that's a great start. That gives you 60 really good, ready to use words right now. You'll see that in lesson 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, right? Now, the long-term suggestion is to really expand your vocabulary, but I don't see a lot of limitations, by the way, from the essay that I just read. But if you want to expand your vocabulary for the long term, I recommend these 3 lessons. Vocabulary Lesson 4, this is 500 academic words A to E. Then Lesson 5, another 500 academic words from E to P. And then you have Lesson 6, another 500 words P to Z. So if you can begin mastering these words in the long term, it takes really between 100 and 200 hours to master these words, right? That would be your long-term strategy. Maybe over the next 2 or 3 months, you can focus on learning the words from these 3 lists. And then, of course, the short-term strategy is to learn these 60 high-frequency academic words right here, lessons 10 through 15. All right, and keep up the good work, AP. I'm pretty impressed with your writing, so I'm confident. I want you to really work on solving these sentence structure issues. That's where you want to really, really solve your issues. So pay attention to the error correction I did in this one paragraph, and then use that to help you. If you want to look in the other parts of the other paragraphs, see if you can find more fragments, and see if you can correct those fragments. All right?